Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Despite the constant development of the automotive industry, ozone carburetors can still be found on many domestic cars. Without exaggeration, we can say that they work today, tens of thousands of them on our roads. They are characterized by certain characteristics and the ability to adjust their operating parameters. The device of the ozone carburetor. This equipment for many years was installed on domestic passenger cars, including models of the classic line of VAZ. The gasoline supply system was equipped with a float mechanism. Certain modifications were produced at the Volga automobile plant, where they were able to achieve a more stable operation of the device, as well as increase its power. The device of the ozone carburetor on the VAZ 2106 of later years had a number of advantages compared to its predecessors. First of all, it began to be manufactured with a more durable housing, which protected from temperature effects and mechanical damage. Among other principal features it is worth highlighting: balance chamber with a float, new fuel dosing systems, a solenoid valve, 4 idle speed correction, actuation by a cable-driven air damper. The presence of a pneumo valve on the second chamber is designed for the fact that it comes into operation only after reaching certain revolutions, after active pressing of the gas pedal an enriched mixture was supplied. The device of this type of carburetor was designed for operation of vehicles in difficult conditions. There were enlarged diameter jets. It was also possible to adjust and regulate the quantity and quality of the fuel supplied. The principle of operation was based on the effective interaction of subsystems to get the most out of the power unit. Structurally, this type of carburetor is a 2-chamber carburetor and includes 3 main parts: the body and cover, made of zinc alloy, as well as the body of the throttle valve assembly, smelted from aluminum. The cover is arranged in such a way that it has necks for each of the chambers, journals, air inlet channels, a strainer, and recesses, in which the fixing screws are placed. An air damper on a pivoting axis is placed in the neck of the first of the chambers. A fuel connection is provided in the cover, and a starter is placed on the side of it. It is fastened to the housing with 5 screws through a cardboard gasket. Already inside the housing are the 2 chambers as well as the main metering systems. Also there are small diffusers, atomizer drive lever, diaphragm mechanism housing. To the main body, a pair of mounting screws screwed to the body of the throttle valve assembly. The main systems of the carburetor of this brand are the following: the first, float chamber, and the second, metering systems provided. For them, transition systems, autonomous idling, idle speed economizer, throttle drive, etc. Operating principle. One of the basic operating principles of the ozone carburetor is to maintain an optimum fuel level. This is also necessary so that a normal fuel mixture can be prepared to maximize performance. If there is a shortage of fuel, the fuel mixture is poor and the dynamic qualities of the engine suffer. Exceeding the norm leads to its excessive enrichment, increased consumption, and poor combustion. Read also: if the key fob from the car alarm system is lost or broken, in order to control the fuel level, you will have to remove the top cover of this device, as well as the housing of the air element. The level is considered normal when it is in the middle of the front float chamber. The level is set during operation by determining the specific position of the float in relation to the cap. The approximate distance should be 6.5 millimeters, and to achieve this level it is necessary to bend the tab on the float. To disassemble the ozone carburetor yourself at home, you will need to prepare a set of socket wrenches. They are needed to unscrew the fastening nuts, remove the needle valve housing, etc. Using a long Phillips screwdriver, we will unscrew the fastening screws located on the top of the cover. A flat screwdriver will be needed to unscrew the screws regulating the fuel mixture quality. In order to remove and repair this type of carburetor, it is necessary first to dismantle the air filter housing. You will also have to discard all the electrics leading to it and supply hoses. The upper part of the cover is removed after disconnecting the telescopic rod. After that, you can unscrew the fixing screws of the cover. The float axle is knocked out with a sharp nail or a small screwdriver. It is removed together with the needle of the needle valve. After the valve body is unscrewed, you can unscrew the filter plug and take out the filter element. You can then proceed to disassemble the starter housing. With a slotted screwdriver, the fuel jets of both chambers of the carburetor are unscrewed. Its basic principle of operation can be reduced to the following order of actions. Gasoline is fed through the filter mesh and then enters the needle valve. Through the main fuel jets, both chambers are filled with fuel. Gasoline is mixed with air and the working mixture is prepared. In the ready form, it enters the diffusers. At idle speed, gasoline is taken from the first chamber and then enters the pipeline. As the accelerator pedal is pressed, the mixture enters the chambers through the holes of the transition system. The fuel mixture enters the atomizer after passing through the econostat. When the fuel supply is cut off, the valve closes under its own weight. The carburetor is adjusted not only in cases of faulty operation, but also during maintenance work, according to the technical regulations. When replacing the rod, it may be necessary to adjust the pneumatic actuator. Adjustment of the starting device is carried out in the case of replacement of any of its elements. In general, during the scheduled technical inspection, it is obligatory to adjust the idle speed. The need to adjust the fuel level in the chamber occurs when replacing the float or needle valve. Adjustment and maintenance. Adjustment of the Ozon carburetor was provided by the regulations of its maintenance. It is enough to install a faulty node instead of flushing the entire product completely. So, the approximate sequence of actions to adjust the ozone will include the following steps. First, the fuel supply hose and the gas shutter actuator are removed, as well as other supply systems. After this, the carburetor itself can also be dismantled. It is flushed, cleaned, and inspected for physical damage. The strainer is cleaned separately using compressed air. Attention should also be paid to the float system, where soot and similar deposits often accumulate, which disrupt the operation of the system as a whole. Now you can proceed to washing and adjustment of the starting mechanism, jets, and other subsystems. At the final stage, adjustment, assembly, and installation of the carburetor back into the engine is carried out. Read also what functions the solenoid idle valve performs, how it works, and its characteristic faults. First you need to deal with the adjustment. It is made by the float chamber screws. This is due to the quality and quantity of fuel, which must meet the criteria for stable operation of the power unit. To do this, check the reliability of fixation of the float in the mechanism and smooth operation without seizures. It is necessary to adjust the distance between the cap and the float. In the submerged state, it should not exceed 2 millimeters. To adjust the starting system, first dismantle the housing of the air element. Next, the suction drive is fully pulled out. At the time when the flap is fully open, the engine speed should be in the range from 3.1 to 3.3 thousand revolutions per minute. The idle speed is adjusted using the appropriate adjustment screws. The so-called mixture quantity and quality screws are provided for this purpose. Correct adjustment of the Ozon carburetor is performed only after the engine has warmed up to operating temperature. Otherwise, it will not be considered correct. The quality screw should be unscrewed until the highest revolutions are reached. The quantity screw is needed in the carburetor in order to set the revolutions 100 higher than required. This will be due to the operating conditions. On the road, it is necessary to test how the idle speed behaves. It should not be lost even after a sharp throw of the gas pedal. The main faults that can be encountered when operating a carburetor of this type can be the following: unstable engine operation, loss of revolutions, increased fuel consumption, loss of revolutions after a sharp sinking of the accelerator pedal or its sharp throwing, loss of power, and engine dynamics. If you can't start the engine but the starter works, you need to make sure there is fuel in the carburetor and its quality level. These are problems that can be directly related to the carburetor. Next, the air filter cover is removed and the throttle actuator lever is rotated several times. The gas pedal pump is triggered and then fuel enters the chamber. Since Ozon carburetors consist of many elements and parts, it should be taken into account that the causes of malfunctions can be quite different. Correction of fuel consumption is regulated by installing jets with a smaller diameter. However, engines with such carburetors are still famous for their unpretentiousness, maintainability, and ease of operation. You can adjust them with your own hands, but you can turn to specialized workshops with experienced carburetor specialists who had their own experience of adjusting such equipment. We offer to share it in the comments below the article. In conclusion, adjusting the Ozon carburetor is a straightforward process that can significantly enhance your engine's performance. By carefully following the steps we've outlined, checking the idle speed, adjusting the air-fuel mixture, and fine-tuning the throttle response, you can ensure optimal operation. Remember to make small adjustments and test the engine's performance after each change. With a little patience and practice, you'll be able to achieve the perfect balance for your specific needs. Thank you for watching, and happy tuning.